The prediction is that not only is it a bloodbath happening out here in these streets, but the bloodbath is going to continue to runneth over. Truck drivers, my people that's out here, I don't want you to crash. I don't want you to pick up your phone. Don't be sitting here talking about Anton got me distracted and now I'm driving a truck and now I'm running over people. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. All right? I love my drivers. I know it's a lot of y'all that's tapped into me. I know it's a lot of y'all that send my show over to your friends to make sure that y'all over here and tapping in because I help y'all get through y'all day. My truck drivers, all of my people that's at work, all of my ladies that's at home, so on and so forth. But the one thing is for sure and two things is for certain is that Anton did not tell you to pick up your phone while you are driving. That is of your 100% own decision to do so. Shout out to Jay the Shooter. I'm going to be looking at that super chat shortly. But I heard that it's a bloodbath out in these streets. So much so to where when I did that last review about the women truck drivers and how they suffering out here in these streets, I had so many women truck drivers reach out to me and said, Anton, it is hard out here in these streets. You know, it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get the money for the rent. Ain't that how ain't that how Taraji P. Henson was singing it? You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get the money for the rent. When the gas money spent. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get the money for the rent. Hold on, I might have to pull that up. Give me a second. I got to pull that up. You know it's hard out here for a pimp. What a Taraji P. Henson part. Come on, man. Sing it, man. Sing that shit. Put it about you, man. I need you to dig deep, man, and pull that shit up out of you, man. Come on, get that shit for daddy, man. Hold on, here it is. Hold on. I got it. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent. When the gas money spent. Pull that shit up out of you, man. Oh, come on, man. Give it to me. Hold on. I might be able to get it. Find that shit, man. Find that. Boom, 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 boom. Whoop that trick. Get him. Get him. There we go. Hold on. Before we get into our truck drivers, just give me a second. Get him. When he trying to get this money, you know it's hard. Where's the part where she's singing it? I want to see the part where she's singing it. I don't want to see this shit. I want to see the part where she's singing it. I want to see the part where she was trying to get that shit up out of her. Find that shit, man. Make sure that you find that shit, man. Damn, I can't even find it. You know it's hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get the money for the rent. When the pilot and the gas money spent. Here we go. All right. I got y'all. I didn't forget about y'all. Hold on. Let's see if we can find that shit, man. Find that shit, man. Find that shit, man. Push that shit out. Push that shit out, man. Feel that shit. Feel that shit. Feel it. Pimp for the rent. Go ahead and push that shit out, man. Hold on. Push that shit out, man. Push that shit out, man. Come on. Push that shit out, man. Here for a pimp. You know it's hard out here for a pimp. Oh my God. Push that shit out, man. Push that shit out, man. Push that shit out, man. Hold on. Okay, I got it. Y'all can't hear it. Y'all can't hear it. I'm trying to preserve the stream, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out for y'all. Y'all want me to play it? All right. Push that shit out, man. Push that shit out, man. I'm trying to preserve the stream, but all right. Y'all want me to push this shit out.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp when he's trying to get this money for the rent. For the Cadillacs and gas money spent, we'll have a whole lot of bitches jumping shit.
Push that shit out. Push that shit out, man. Push that shit out, man. Come on. Come on, man. Push that shit out, man.
You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
For a pimp. You know it's hard out here for a pimp.
When he trying to get this money for the rent.
Yeah, man.
For the Cadillacs and gas money spent.
You ain't no name.
A whole lot of bitches jumping shit. You know it's hard out here
for a pimp.
When he trying to get this money for the rent.
Oh, push that shit out, man. All right, push that shit out, man. I need you. Hey, find that shit. Find that shit, man. We ain't got time for that. We don't have time for that. We have to get back to the money. We got to get back to the money, y'all. I can't stand the fact that y'all keep making me distracted. This is y'all fault. Because I've watched so many different movies throughout my life. And I'm familiar with so many different things that we got to push that shit out, man. All right? So anyways, let's get back to the show.
Demand for truck drivers accelerated during the worst of the pandemic, fueled by the boom in online shopping and people looking for a steady paycheck. But now some of those same drivers are struggling to find work. Let's bring in Todd Spencer, president of the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Todd, thank you so much for your time. I was reading an article about this. Saw that there are now truckers who are struggling, to have the same amount of paychecks to find jobs.
Messy, that is not true. I have a very long attention span, but I just get slightly distracted.
Again, all throughout COVID, I myself did stories on the trucker shortage. So how did this situation shift that quickly? Is there a surplus of drivers at this point?
Well, when you talk about driver shortage, that's one of those topics, mythical topics that we've heard about for 3 decades. And it's basically perpetuated by those companies that their real core issue is there are plenty of drivers, they just can't keep them. And
what they are saying is that at the height of the pandemic, they had a shortage of 80,000 drivers. 80,000 drivers was allegedly the shortage that was a part of what was going on with the truck drivers in 2021. 2020, 2021. And so what happened was, what happened was they recruited a whole lot of truck drivers. Now, one of the ways it's easy to be able to get a bunch of people to sign up for something, you know how? Make a YouTube video. Do a TikTok short. Go and create a reel for Instagram. There were so many people. I'm telling you, I could not open up any application for years without seeing somebody kept telling you how you was going to get rich as a result of going to buy a box truck, becoming a truck driver. Meanwhile, I was coaching people to help them to understand that all of this stuff that y'all was doing, that y'all was making money for temporarily, was that it was going to come, a correction was going to come eventually. A correction was going to come eventually. And when all the getting was good and you had logistic problems and I was doing the Millionaire Morning Show and we was doing what it is that we was doing, in every industry, when you have an explosion of something, there's always going to be a correction. That's why I'm very leery when I see everybody jump in with the FOMO. You know what FOMO is? FOMO is fear of missing out. It's called fear of missing out. And so when I see everybody running into something in particular, I usually pivot away from it. When I seen everybody going out and buying homes during the pandemic, I stopped. Y'all remember that? Some of y'all have been with me for the last 3-4 years. Some of y'all have been with me for the last 3-4 years. Well, this channel hasn't been open for 4 years, but let's just say 3 years almost. And I was having conversations and I said, listen, I'm not buying anything whatsoever. I'm not buying any real estate, any homes, because people was so desperate to get into homes that they were willing to pay $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 over asking price. No home inspection, more home than they can afford. You know why? Because the interest rates were low. And so now they find themselves in a situation where foreclosures are imminent. You know what else that they started to sell a lot of? You know where a lot of what else was going on? Semiconductor chip shortages. As a result, everybody was sitting at home. People was getting stimulus checks. And so everybody started buying cars that they couldn't even fucking drive. And they were charging an egregious amount over asking price because, ta-da, it was a shortage of cars. And eventually there's going to be a correction. Now what we see happening right now, there's a ton of repossessions and the used car market is cratering, right? I took advantage of it. Used car market, I actually dropped the video inside of the Patreon of how I leveraged CarMax in order to make a bunch of money off of the car that I was turning in, because instead of turning in a lease, I wound up buying a car and then I sold it back to CarMax. That's a whole nother conversation. I dropped that video inside of the Patreon. Rita was on the cover of that video. And now what you have is prices are starting to drop and crater tremendously, even for new cars, because the used car market is being flooded and it's a bunch of repossessions. And so now what you see happening right now is the same thing that's happening with truck drivers. They flooded the market because they used marketing and everybody thought that they was going to get rich as a result of becoming a truck driver. I was telling my people that was truck drivers, hey, y'all need to pivot. Make sure that you have something on the back end. Make sure that you get into another industry. Make sure that you study, go back to community college, get you a certificate, go and take a boot camp. Whatever it is that you need to do, you need to make sure that you protect yourself. And people were saying, Anton, I want you to buy a truck. I want you to get into the business. It was Carvana. It wasn't CarMax. It was Carvana. You're right. Shout out to B. Burns. They said, Anton, why don't you buy a truck and get it to the business and we can put somebody in it? I said, nope. It's not a sustainable industry. It's going to be hard to be able to recruit drivers to continue to stay in those trucks. Prices are going to start cratering. Everybody is trying to buy a truck right now. I see the trend that's happening on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. You know what I did instead? I bought a bunch of land. Now I'm building on that land when lumber prices continue to go down, because there's workers and there's a bevy of different work that goes along with it, which is one of the reasons I'm going to do the live stream, in order to tell y'all exactly how much it's costing me in order to build this house so far. Let's continue.
Happened in trucking because of COVID and because of CARES Act. Suddenly our economy was, in essence, given steroids, and people had money to spend, and they spent it buying lots and lots and lots of things, and almost everything in our country is delivered by trucks, and created record demand, big time record demand. And now, as those COVID dollars are dissipating, the demand is no longer there. And suddenly, where we saw trucking companies increase by 50% because of COVID, now the weaning out process is going on, and it's certainly going to be painful for many.
All right, Todd, I have a quick question for you. How long have you been in the trucking industry?
I bought my first truck in 1976.
All right, 1970, so basically almost 50 years, coming up on 50 years
Yes,
here.
yes,
I like to say,
yes. Our organization is celebrating its 50th year in operation right now.
wow, well, congrats to you.
Truckers.
I ask you that, Todd, because it certainly sounds like you know what you're talking about. So almost 50 years in this industry. What is the remedy here? Because you say there are plenty of drivers. The problem is retaining those drivers is the only option for these truckers who are trying to stick it out, but just are not making the same when it comes to those paychecks. Is their only option just to find different jobs?
The economics in trucking have always been brutal. It's an industry that goes from boom to bust. A lot of the reason for that is because there are virtually no requirements to start a trucking company. As I mentioned, there were 120,000 new ones created because of COVID. And basically all you need to do to start a trucking company is have $300 and fill out some forms with the FMCSA. Now, this is supposed to be the top safety agency for commercial vehicle truckers. You fill out that form, it doesn't ask you about safety. It doesn't ask you about ethics.
So basically what he's saying is that the barrier to entry is too low. And so when you have too much access, when things start to get really good, everybody run into it because it's so easy for you to get into it, right? Which means that the crash is going to be tremendous. And so I don't think that every trucker is suffering. I think that those that have been in the industry for an extended period of time, or those that really understand it, or those that work it effectively, will be okay. They understand that it's going to be ebbs and flows. It's going to be ups and downs. It's just like the real estate industry. When things are good, it's going to be really good. And then when things get bad, it's going to wash out all of the people that thought that they knew what they was doing. It's the same thing when it comes to cryptocurrency. It's the same thing when it comes to the stock market. It's the same thing when it comes to y'all getting these jobs. When it's good, it's going to be really good. Everybody not going to be able to miss. But when it goes bad, when it goes bust, you're going to see who's really worth their salt. And so there's a market correction that is happening within the trucking industry right now. And most people do not know what they're going to do in order to survive it. And the ones that are being impacted the most are the same people that was impacted the most when it came to layoffs during the pandemic. Guess who they were? Women. It was women. Because women truly aren't able to be able to sustain through the boom and bust cycles. In a lot of instances, they just not built for it. They're genuinely not built for it. And this is not a knock on women. This is that you gonna have to be out there competing with a person that's just like me, except for they gonna be the trucking version of me. And they gonna understand the game. They gonna understand how to make the most money out of it, right? They've maximized the revenue that they making, and they limited the expenses, and they know exactly what to do, and they bought the right type of truck and all of this other type of stuff, right? And you're gonna have to compete with a nigga like me. And now women are getting their cars repossessed. I just did an article on that, what is that, a week ago? When they was making $20,000 a month extra on top of whatever their expenses were, now they only making $3,000, maybe $2,000, maybe, and then they got $2,500 in rent. They went and bought a new crib. It's going to be hard. Every single industry goes through ups and downs. And right now, for truckers, it's your motherfucking turn. I love my truckers. I love the fact that they tuned into me every single day. But it's going to be some gnashing of the teeth, and you can make money. But instead of y'all educating yourself on exactly what it takes in order to get into a specific industry, you jump into it because somebody on TikTok told you that it was lucrative. Be careful. Be very, very careful, because there's a lot of truckers that are washing out and they can't survive. And they getting their trucks repossessed, they fucking up the money, and they can't compete.